This build is so underrated and yet so powerful if used properly. Bungie said that next season Stasis will be getting some love, so we can expect this to be a top tier build. I hope you enjoy freezing everything, and if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now the entire build is built around the Withering Blade Stasis melee. This is your empowered melee. It lets you toss a shuriken at targets, it'll damage and slow them. It has multiple charges and it can ricochet off targets, so it can hit multiple targets. If you hit an enemy with a shuriken, it'll add a 60 slow stack on them, and anytime an enemy gets to 100 slow stacks, they'll instantly freeze. So by landing 2 shurikens, you can instantly freeze a target. There's many different ways to make sure we always have a shuriken charge. The first one being our Gambler's Dodge. If we dodge near enemies, it'll fully recharge our melee ability. And with that dodge, we're using the Radiant Dance Machines. Whenever we activate our dodge ability near targets, it allows us to dodge additional times for a short period. Defeating targets extend the duration of additional charge. So we can dodge, it'll refund our melee, and it'll activate the dance, which will allow us to keep dodging, which will keep refilling our melee charges as long as we're dodging near targets, so we can spam our dodge and our melees. And it doesn't matter how we kill a target, as long as we can kill a target, it'll extend the duration. We're also utilizing Grim Harvest. This is our first stasis aspect. Whenever we defeat a slowed or frozen combatant, it'll create a stasis shard. These shards grant melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. Whenever we're spamming our dodge to refund our melee after we kill all the enemies, or if we can't kill someone in time, it's completely okay because we have a lot of other methods to get melee energy. Now to make this even better, we're using Whisper of Refraction. Defeating slowed or frozen targets grants us class ability energy. So if we run out of our Radiant Dance Machines, our class ability energy will be fully expended, and to get it back quickly, we're utilizing this fragment, as well as Whisper of Hunger, increases melee energy gained from picking up stasis shards, and Whisper of Fractures. Your melee energy recharges faster when you're near 2 or more targets. And since we're making a lot of stasis shards, we're also utilizing Whisper of Rhyme. Collecting a stasis shard grants a small amount of overshield, which falls off after 10 seconds. Collecting additional shards add to the overshield and refreshes the timer. And for our last fragment, this is just going to bump our stats. We're using Whisper of Hedrons. Dramatically increases weapon stability, weapon aim assist, weapon airborne effectiveness, mobility, resilience, and recovery after freezing a target with stasis. It's super easy to get freezes, so this should be up most of the time. It's going to give us 60 mobility, 60 resilience, and 60 recovery as long as targets are frozen. And if all of that wasn't enough to keep our melees going, we're also utilizing the Monte Carlo Exotic Auto Rifle. Dealing damage with this weapon reduces our melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. This weapon gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon. Melee kills grant ammo for this weapon. And if you have the catalyst done for this, at 5 stacks of Markov chain, you can switch to a melee attack, which will utilize the Monte Carlo bayonet, and landing a bayonet melee grants melee energy. For other aspect, we're using Touch of Winter, which is going to give our Glacier Grenade, Dustfield Grenade, and Cold Snap Grenade enhanced functionality. You can use any grenade you'd like, but I prefer the Dustfield Grenade because it can slow targets. It also freezes them if they stay in the volume. And the Touch of Winter aspects makes it bigger and puts a little stasis crystal on the ground, so you can really lock down areas with this grenade. For your other weapons, it's entirely up to you. You can utilize anything you want for this build. Since we're utilizing Whisper of Hedrons, you don't necessarily need 100 resilience because you'll be getting a bunch from Whisper of Hedrons. You'll also be getting a bunch of mobility and recovery. So if you want to put these stats somewhere else, you can do that. In the artifact, there's not a whole lot you can utilize, but you can definitely have the anti-barrier auto rifle. If you're using a fusion rifle, you can use unstoppable fusion rifle. If you're using a machine gun, you can use overload machine gun. Also, you want to make sure you have elemental fury. While stunned, champions take bonus damage from your abilities and elemental orbs. So this is just outright for our abilities because we're not going to be using elemental orbs. And we can still use refreshing pickups. If we have allies making tangles or elemental orbs and you pick them up, it'll recharge or at least powered ability. You can also use Rapid Fire Ranger. Rapid precision hits against distant combatants weakens them for a short duration. Now into our mods in our helmet, we're using Kinetic Siphon. Kinetic weapon final blows create an orb of power. Hands on, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. This is going to allow us to utilize our super a lot more often. If you have enough room, you can run a second Kinetic Siphon, which increases the potency of generated orbs. In our arms, we're using Focusing Strike. Grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack. And Bolstering Detonation. Grants class ability energy when we cause damage with a grenade. So this is when our Radiant Dance Machine perk runs out and we need to recharge our dodge quickly. We can just use a grenade or a melee, which will allow your dodge to recharge pretty quickly. Also heavy-handed, your powered melee final blows create orbs of power. In your chest, you can use melee damage resist and concussive dampener. In our legs, we're using recuperation to replenish health each time we pick up an orb of power. Insulation reduces class ability each time we pick up an orb of power, and also Absolution reduces all ability cooldowns each time we pick up an orb of power. In our cloak, we're using Distribution, reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets, and 2 powerful attractions to automatically collect nearby orbs of power when we activate our class ability, and with 2 of them it extends the radius. This build is really fun and really powerful, and I think it's going to get a lot stronger next season, and I'll leave a dim link down in the description below if you want to check that out. And that's all I got for this video, and I hope you have an awesome day. Peace.